I'm really curious on what you were doing with Corridor Crew.
We were done so fast. Like with that small team, we did like the episode so quickly. Like it was crazy because I thought like this is gonna take a few months. I don't think it even took a month. Like I think it took a few weeks and we were already done. It's crazy how fast, and it's just like a testament of like where this can lead.
Hello and welcome to AI Expressed, the creative first AI podcast where we talk about the pertinent news issues for creatives and then dive deeper into a topic. Last episode, we went over AI agents and the impact that they're going to have on the landscape of how we interact with work and society. Today, we're going deep into AI video. This is a very interesting topic. We have a special guest, Enigmatic E, aka Eric.
Hey.
Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for having me.
All right, so let's kick things off in the news. What do we have today, Alex, in regards to the latest AI news?
So I guess the first piece of news is the one that is on the mouth of everyone at this point, which is that the whole debacle of Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, leaving and then coming back. During this soap opera, of course, there's been many rumors of why he was fired, and amongst those, the most prominent was the one saying that he was fired because he was pushing for the development of new breakthrough in machine learning, thanks to this new algorithm called Q-star. So this is the main rumor that basically sees him like pushing this huge development, whilst the rest of the company, or at least the board, tries to slow down these developments in fear of affecting negatively the economy, because if you release something like that, it might have an impact on people's life. This is all rumors, but the thing is that basically the news is that he kind of confirmed this in a recent interview. He confirmed that the information that was spreading about this, sci-fi algorithm was actually a leak. And just by saying, it's a leak and it's not just a rumor, it in a way confirms it. It still doesn't confirm it, completely, but the fact that he used that specific wording might say something about the reality of the story.
Yeah, and Q Star was just like terribly named because now, of course, the conspiracy theorists are going wild. But Q Star is basically a reinforcement learning algorithm. Q learning has been around in AI for quite a while. It's nothing new. But basically it's it's like an algorithm that assigns rewards to different states and actions. There's no model or anything with it. It's just an algorithm. Yeah, no one really knows how they were using it. There's been some rumors about like math or science or getting accurate answers, but no one really knows. My guess is they were building something for the individual users, to like have it learn on their inputs. And that's when they found some sort of breakthrough. But we don't know. We'll see what happens in the meantime. In other news, LM Studio has been making some waves in the open source model movement. It's a new platform that has all the tools to download the latest in open source models, easy to access APIs and other advanced tooling, plus a shiny, nice interface, which is always great. It is not open source, however, it is a closed source platform. Feel free to check that one out.
Amazon surprised everyone with the release of their own image generation tool. During a keynote, the Amazon reInvent, which is mostly AWS focused, so server services and cloud services, they just slotted in the reveal of this image generation tool, which they claim it's competitive with some of the best performing models on the market. We haven't seen much about it, and we're curious to see if these claims are actually true or not.
Runway ML released Motion Brush. Essentially, this is like you can mask a certain area and it will move. Had some very impressive stuff that I've seen on Twitter. In this regard, it seems like a great tool. I have no doubt that open source AI video stuff will be following soon.
On the same notes, in terms of image to video, Pika Labs released Pika 1.0, which is still a bit mysterious because it's still in limited access, and I don't know many people who actually managed to try it. The concept is basically the way they market it is the idea of idea to video. Because it's not just image to video, but it's actually multimodal. Apparently, I don't know exactly how, but you're supposedly able to put either images or text and get a video out of it. That's why it's called idea to video, because you can put anything into it and some kind of like generated video will come out on the other end. The concept is very interesting, and we're very excited to see how it performs. Something that was really interesting to see recently was HeyGen, this company that specializes in the creation of AI avatars. And basically, it's just like this platform where you can generate an avatar of yourself based on recordings that you already own, and it will enable you to basically prompt yourself, like a text or something you say, and have it say it as you would, how realistic these avatars are and how accurate they are. It's very striking, and it's the first time I see an avatar that is so accurate in terms of reproducing the original person's likeness. That's why it's interesting.
Stability had a huge swath of releases. Emad went on and said, do I do it all at once or one at a time? And he's been releasing them one at a time so far. He's got apparently 5 releases, and so far he's released a couple of them. So the first one is Stable Video Diffusion, which is a huge update for open source video creation. We'll be diving into it quite a bit today, just going over what you can do with it. It's a new tool, so the tooling is not quite there yet. This is Follow Stability's sort of release the open source model, do the hard work of the foundation model, and then have the open source community figure out ways to use it, which has worked quite well in the past. But it can make short clips similar to Runway's Gen 2. Also, SDXL Turbo was the next release. This is a 512x based model, although it can be fine-tuned up to 1024 by 1024, and it's incredibly fast. So with one-step image generation, you can create images. People have been making them almost real-time, as fast as you can type. And right now it's available for research purposes, same with Stable Video Diffusion, non-commercial licensing, but you can try it out, and then there will be an open source release later. Well, there was also some other concerns from Stability. Alex, we talked about this earlier. There was a rumor that Stability was trying to get acquired. You had some thoughts on that?
So this is, I think it's interesting to frame it also in terms of the fact that Emad announced that they are intending to start a membership plan in which companies or individuals in the future, to be able to use their models, will have to pay a subscription, at least if they do it for commercial purposes. And this basically, it's certainly going to change the way the AI community now uses generative software in general, because anyone who wants to use Stable Diffusion, any of the Stable products, to any commercial purpose, should in theory pay some kind of fee. This fee, he declared, will be on the basis of how much money you make with the tool, basically. So I don't know how they're actually going to pull this out to make a calculation on how much you gain and how much you pay. Because he said, for example, if you're an indie developer or an indie artist, you're not going to pay as much as a company who makes $3 billion. It's just interesting to see in the future how they're going to actually manage to make this kind of tiering, which I think is going to be very complicated. And to go back to
he's sort of said on Twitter that he's going to make it just a flat fee. I think that in the shockwaves that the Unity license change brought to the industry, he's probably a little cautious to make a big statement like that. I believe that originally they were talking about $100 a month, but then later on it was $20 a month for under $1 million of revenue. So probably not that bad. And you keep getting the latest advances. I mean, there's a 3D model coming soon from Stability. There's lots of cool stuff. So I'm interested to see how they shift that. Definitely, they have their own services, consulting, things that they're offering to enterprise as well, but they sort of want to make a business friendly model. So yeah, it'll
Yeah,
be interesting to see how that rolls out.
And this, of course, because when you start to talk about money, of course, immediately, especially if you come from a free business model, it raises controversy, and this is amidst like other controversies that you were hinting about before, which is the fact that Stability CEO Imad has been caught in the middle of a lot of rumors and accusations of being a liar in many aspects of his life and his business. There was a full Forbes report expose in which basically all the lies he supposedly said in the last, 5 years are listed. Of course, these are all rumors, and we don't know if it's actually true or not. But it's just interesting to see everything happening all at once, like releasing all these models, making these controversial declarations about a future paid model, and also these rumors about him coming out. Like, it sounds like everything is happening all at once for Stability AI.
Well, I mean, that Forbes article came out a few months ago. It did seem like a hit piece specifically. I mean, it just was so targeted. And then he did publicly respond to all those, refuting them, bringing in external sources and so forth. So it is interesting to kind of see where he sits. I mean, previously he was a hedge fund manager, right? So he wasn't a AI researcher in that regard. But yeah, I mean, there were rumors that perhaps Stability was looking to be acquired. He, went on to Twitter to refute those claims as well. And he's definitely feeling the pressure from the investors, which is why he went on to probably launch this membership plan, get some more revenue, keep people happy. I do think he wants to keep building models, and that's where he's going to be. He's had some great success with that so far. So it'll be interesting to see how things develop.
Yeah, and talking about models, I guess we should start talking about the new models.
Video, the state of AI video. Well, we have a special guest here today, Enigmatic E, who is one of the forefront in creating awesome video content. You have a lot of great tutorials on your YouTube channel, which we'll link in the comments. But yeah, I'd love to hear about how you got into AI video, and what you think of it.
Well, I got into video because I started to do videography, like weddings and stuff like that. Right after college, I went to school for audio digital technology. I just found out while I was going to school that there's not a lot of opportunities for audio engineers as much as there used to be. So I had to kind of pivot and find something that I still enjoyed, and still can use some creativity, and that was through video. And so started to apply some of that stuff that I learned in school into the video, and like into sound design and all these things. And so I just saw, when I started seeing stuff like AI stuff on like Instagram, that I thought like, oh, this is really cool. Like, I want to learn how to do this. And back then, the thing I started to use was this thing called Diffusion. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's like, it was like,
oh yeah,
like
yeah.
late last year. Yeah. And I started like around like October of last year. I started to just mess around with it, and yeah, I just got hooked since then. And since then, I just been using whatever's coming out. What's the new thing that's coming out? I just start to try to learn it. And obviously now I have a YouTube channel too, so I talk about those things too. I do tutorials and stuff, and a lot of content for like social media and stuff. So
yeah, it's great that you've been focused on video way earlier than many other AI content creators. Like, content creators normally they used to focus a lot on images, but you've started on the video wave a lot earlier than many other content creators, which is very cool.
Yeah, I remember when I started off, there wasn't like a lot of stuff like on YouTube, like about like AI video. There was some, some people, some creators that were there, but I think the reason why my channel started to grow rapidly at the beginning was because of the fact that there wasn't that many. Now there's so many, like there's so many channels that talk about it, and I took advantage of getting in there early,
I like the Disco Diffusion piece. There's actually on Twitter right now, there's like a resurgence thread on Disco Diffusion of like all these AI old heads, they're calling themselves, which is probably like just a year or two, right? So, but they're posting all their work on Disco Diffusion, which is awesome. It's such a like I've seen very painterly styles, very abstract. This is before like a lot of the solid forms and like facial features and stuff were kind of dialed in. So you see some really, really beautiful stuff. And then the video is really interesting too. I've been kind of thinking like, there's these newer tools that are the AI stuff's getting better and better and better all the time. But like these platforms like Disco Diffusion and some others, like they're kind of going to be regarded as like the vinyl of AI, like these like older,
Yeah.
cooler styles that still had a little bit of this like interesting abstractness and soul to them or something.
Yeah. And out of curiosity, I have a quick question for you, E. Which type of content or topic regarding AI video do you feel is the one that makes the people more excited between all the tools or all the, tutorials that you've done? What do you think it's the one that makes the people more, interested?
I think whatever the flavor of the month is, to be honest, because there was a time when Deforum was extremely popular because of some guy. I think his name was like Original Mac or something. He did this. He started this trend. I don't know if he started it, but he's the one that kind of blew up with it. He started this. He did this trend where he poses and then suddenly like the form takes over, the AI video takes over, and then it seems like it's
the
going
zombies.
through like, yeah, and
Yeah.
it seems like it's like it's almost like it looks like it's a camera like traveling through like a 3D world, but it's not, Um, but yeah, that
Hmm.
became very popular, and so like videos about that were just like the thing, and for a while, Stable Diffusion, anything Stable Diffusion was super super like a hot topic. Then Warp Fusion was a hot topic because people were doing some really incredible stuff with
Mm.
that. Quarter Crew did like an anime. I got to work on that too and help them out with that, and that got really popular. And right now, Comfy's the big thing right now with AnimateDiff. That's like
Yeah.
the hot topic again,
Yeah.
right at the moment. I mean, and yeah, it's just whatever the hot thing is at that moment is what people are watching.
How's Comfy doing with video right now, in your opinion?
I think it's the best thing at the moment right now, that's out there. To be honest, um,
Comfy with video.
yeah, Comfy with video. I think so.
Uh-huh.
That's not
So,
that.
so stable video diffusion and animate diff, right? I mean, there's a couple things
Yeah,
on Comfy right now. I back in the day, it was like you could just image to image in automatic to make a video, which people were
right.
doing quite a bit of as well. That was like the popular thing for a while, and then adding control net and so on. So, um, yeah, I think like stable video diffusion, sorry, is like really going to shine in Comfy. The fact that Comfy moves so quick means like
Yeah.
all these sort of like AI memes that pop up, like you were talking about, the guy who turns into a bunch of zombie Alice
Mm,
in Wonderland kind of stuff. It's able to really quickly iterate on the new technology that stability's dropping or whatever it might be and build a workflow for it very fast, like we saw
right.
with SDXL and now with stable video diffusion. I mean, they had it like the next day, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of also developers that are just like really quickly creating things for like whatever comes out. Like before, you would have to wait for some kind of extension to appear on for stable for automatic, right? And sometimes that could take
Mm-hmm.
weeks, and then but I just feel that with Comfy, like we get it so fast. Like when they announced stable video
Mm.
diffusion, I was like, when is it going to be accessible for people in Comfy? And like it took like I don't remember how long, but it was so fast. It was already available for people in Comfy. It's crazy.
Yeah, I just remember how long it took to have control net on Excel. It took
Mm,
forever. Even just like a faint
Mm-hmm.
presence of it on automatic, it took months.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I see what you mean.
The stable video diffusion was interesting because it was like the same night. I remember some like guy made some workflows, and then I was watching in the Comfy thing, and the developers launched it. It's pretty interesting. I mean, right now, it's very basic. So you just take an image and then you'd make a video of it, and video would move. I found it really good for realistic illustration. I found was like kind of hit or miss. Like sometimes it was like it would just do camera panning with like a flat image instead of actually like making the image move and come alive. But I'm really interested in it because you can fine tune it, so on. But the funny thing is there's no prompting, right? It's just like right
Mm-hmm.
now, it's just like you just put a picture in and then you get a video.
So it's image to video,
I
pretty
see.
much. Yes, instead of video diffusion, when using the config, can you like select an area and have
Oh,
only that area of the image animate?
I don't
Not
think
yet.
that's not
Not
yet,
yet.
The
not yet.
tooling's, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm sure
The
you're sure
tooling's
with
very,
time.
very new. Yeah. It does seem like that. Like so far, kind of what I've seen in regards to the tool set for stable video diffusion is there's like very quickly people did interpolation workflows. So interpolation is just adding extra frames in between the frames because you only get a short amount of frames, right? It's just like maybe a second of or two of video. And so you want to like if you add more frames in, you get to extend that. So the 14 or 20 frames or whatever you make will make it a much smoother movement versus like a more staggered type movement.
I was just gonna say that from me testing it out, at least right now, it seems like it does well with like things that look like 3D rendered. Um, it seems to get kind of
Mm.
give like a lot more. I feel like it does really like, for example, it does really bad with 2D looking like anime kind of stuff. It looks really bad with that for the most
Hmm.
part. Um, but just recently, I did like I worked on this animation that that I just incorporated different just tools of AI, and that was one of the things. Is like I wanted to create a background of like this village that's on fire, and so right away I'm like, oh, stable video diffusion. So I ran that through stable video diffusion, and it just made moving fire and moving smoke. And I think the fact that it can do that within just like minutes, compared to like me having to go into After Effects, trying to, mess around with it to kind of give that effect, it's for me. I think that's a great use when it comes to that, like backgrounds and stuff.
In your testing, have you found like maybe some tips and tricks in terms of controlling the output? Because as we said, right now you just put an image in. Maybe you saw something that could help people to get something more specific out of the image they put in, or maybe not.
I think I
Well,
heard.
there is.
Yeah.
I just want. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, no,
Sorry.
you go ahead. You go ahead.
There's
Sorry,
a
it's just
delay, by the
there's a
way.
delay.
So
Yeah, yeah.
there's like a 1 second delay. I'm in North America and you guys are in Europe, so you might be. So you can kind of prompt stable video diffusion. They actually found that you could use the stable diffusion 2.1 model's text encoder clip to do some like very basic prompting for it. So some workflows have started to pop up where you can do like 1 word or 2 word prompts that will actually affect the output
Nice.
of the motion. So they're mostly looking at the motion. And it's funny, you talked about like using like fire effects or explosion effects. When Emad was talking about this, he did say that there would be stable video diffusion LoRa's and that it wouldn't just be for camera controls. He was saying that you would also have like a stable video diffusion LoRa for like explosions and stuff like that.
Nice.
So you could do like video effects, which I think that is going to be quite transformative because that's something that a lot of the closed platforms don't have. They just have it via prompting, right? Like you want to I want to do like a 70s Kodachrome camera or whatever. Sure, you can prompt it, but then the actual training that's going to happen on the stable video diffusion model where you can use that stuff as a LoRa, like that's going to be extremely transformative for the industry. And I think we'll see a lot of stuff in regards to like utilities, like maybe extending longer videos or slow motion or old film cam with like the blinking frames, or there's going to be a lot of different film techniques that will be able to turn into LoRa's that you can then like mix match combine with the styling and the prompting. I think it's going to be very powerful in that regard.
So a Michael Bay Laura will just make everything
Yes.
explode.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, people could do that, right? This is the area again where it's like artists might get a little sensitive, like, oh, did you use the David Lynch model to make that movie? And I'm like, yeah, of course I used the David Lynch model. It's going to be like a little funny like that, I think.
Yeah.
But there's so much good video content out there to train, and people will be able to make really creative stuff out of it as the tools develop. I mean, in the industry, Resolve is the free video editor, and it has a node-based system in it, right? It's got After Effects. So there's the potential for this stuff to be incorporated into Resolve. There's potential for it to be used in existing tools. I'm sure Adobe is going to do something with this technology too, right? Or they'll have to.
I wonder when a timeline will come into play, because when you start talking about video, then some form of timeline will come in handy, even just in Comfy or in Automatic 1111. And I guess, E can empathize with that coming from a videographer background. He probably wants a big
Oh
timeline in
man,
Comfy.
that would be so sick. That would be so. I feel like there's a lot of well, maybe it's starting to shift, but when like AI art started, the priority was always like images, like and video second or third or whatever. But I'm starting to feel like the shift where the video is starting to come to the front
Yeah.
now. So maybe you never know. Timelines.
Yeah, we'll have to see
I
if the
did-
tools adapt or something else will crop out that's just video focused. We'll see.
I have a good example of that actually in the open source space just recently. So I've been working with the Infug developer pretty closely. And so maybe we can actually shift to this topic next, which is AnimateDiff, which is, of course, Enigmatic E. You're a fan of that. You've done a lot of tutorials on it. So the Infug developer built AnimateDiff into their platform. Infug's a very interesting platform. You have like Photoshop like layers so that you can like denoise and control net together and stuff. It's got a big canvas. So it's really a wild platform, but he's also built the timeline into it now. So when you animate diff, you get the timeline with prompt travel. So you can move from one prompt to another, generate multiple videos on the timeline with layers. It's like he's
Basically,
really
After
made
Effects.
something unique. Yeah.
Crazy.
And it's a funny one. Like I think like a lot of people look at it and just like Comfy, they're like a little intimidated right away. They're like, what am I supposed to do with all this stuff? But he's been absolutely crushing it as a dev and just releasing stuff nonstop. Like I can't wait till he puts stable video diffusion, and then we'll be like AnimateDiff, stable video diffusion, like back and forth.
Oh my God.
Because AnimateDiff, for example, like like it works much better for 2D illustration than stable video diffusion does. It's like they're
Yeah.
very different things in that regard, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Is it because it's trained on like static GIF images in a way? Because the result always looks very GIF sequence of images rather than a video. I wonder if it's a product of the fact that it comes from a GIF perspective.
It's similar in the sense that it has like a motion training model. So the training's not it's on short videos, but AnimateDiff uses those stable diffusion models as a base. So it's not like stable video diffusion where it's trained on a bunch of videos, or like Zero Scope, which is another one that came out earlier that used like video trainings and you just generate the video from scratch. AnimateDiff does use more of a text to image pipeline because it's using the stable diffusion models to generate the pictures, and then it's tying them together with like LoRa's for movement, and it's really interesting. The AnimateDiff developers were like, hey, we saw stable video diffusion came out, which is great, but we're actually like pretty happy and we think we have a unique tool. Like we don't feel this is an overlap. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. And I've seen some really incredible stuff with AnimateDiff. Like
that makes me think, what do we know about stable video diffusion? Because if in the future we can direct how the image develops in terms of like splicing the degeneration in chunks, where you can say from here to here you prompt this, and from here to here prompt this, and then a video with an evolution comes out, like with evolution of events, or like a narrative. I wonder if that's possible, because I guess that depends on how the model behaves with text in general. If it's something that can it be interacted with by prompting it or not. But we don't know much about it, so it's just speculation, I guess.
It's all new. Yeah, it's all new technology. I mean, you can do that with AnimateDiff today with the prompt travel, like we were talking about, which is great. So I have no doubt that it will be something that you could do, or you could like switch LoRa's, and I think we're gonna find some interesting tools with it. But let's just talk briefly about AnimateDiff. E, you've got a lot of experience using it. What do you think AnimateDiff's strengths are, right now, compared to maybe stable video diffusion or other tools out there?
I think like you had mentioned, it definitely does better when it comes to like 2D kind of stuff. It does. I've seen like people do some really cool realistic stuff, but it's always like bizarre looking, and it's like once you have like movement, then things start to kind of look, kind of trippy and weird. Um, but when I'm doing stuff like with 2D, or cartoon or anime style, everything seems to just flow a lot better. Um, than realistic. I feel like I've seen a lot of people push for like using like push to use no, yeah, AnimateDiff for more realistic kind of stuff, and it always kind of breaks. I've seen some kind of pretty cool things, but I think at some point, yeah, it just struggles to make things look good, like when it's very very realistic. Um, but I guess it just also depends, like. Yeah, I would say like the strength is definitely with 2D.
So basically, AnimateDiff has more control, but it's stronger with uh, like cartoon or graphic design kind of style, where Stable Diffusion is stronger with realistic images in terms of prompting, but you have less control. Is that correct?
I would say that
As of today, yeah.
as of today,
It's
exactly.
interesting. Just yesterday, yeah, just yesterday, I saw that someone had found, they said, a control net model for AnimateDiff, and it was like an animation control. And in the Bandoko Discord, I was seeing work that they were doing with it, and they had the like Pablo Escobar on a swing video
Oh
going, and
yeah,
it was a
yeah.
perfect full replacement, and it was very realistic. I was quite impressed with it. I think that this is something that people have been really obsessed with for a while. It's like this reskinning of video, right? Like the complete restylization of a video. Um, there's been a lot of technologies that have sort of done it. And AnimateDiff does it quite well because it's got that like consistency to it. Other tools in the past have had like a lot of flickering, a lot of like, because if you're trying to do like text to image, it'll change the picture a million times with all the variation. But it's actually pretty consistent with AnimateDiff when you restylize something, I've noticed.
And Enigmatic, so because you've been playing a bit more than us with the Stable Video Diffusion, and we discussed about how it's limited in terms of like you have a scene and that's it. I guess it comes natural to want to stitch scenes together at some point, right? Like you would probably want to say, I have this and then I have that. So yeah, even just like maybe you go outside, Stable Diffusion, and you jump into Premiere and you start stitching up stuff. Like, what's your go-to way to bring sequences together when it comes to generating video in general?
I mean, with like Stable Video Diffusion, for example, I've seen some people create like trailers with it, kind of like trailer looking things, and it just looks so cool. Like, uh, that's where it really shines right now. Is like if you can create like sequences of images, like of make it look like some kind of trailer or something like that. It looks really cool. It looks like you're really watching a trailer. Um, but then people kind of were already doing that with Runway, with the Gen 2, right? People were already kind of doing that with that before, but now
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Stable Video Diffusion you can do that. But the thing that I kind of do the most mainly is like it's kind of random, honestly. But like I think I would say like the animation kind of style where I, uh, I typically try to like create a background, generate a background like a still background, and then um, yeah, run like some kind of animation through AnimateDiff, and then after that make it look like it's like an animation, like kind of like the anime. I would say it's more in the style of like what Corridor Crew with the anime episode that they did.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice. So like, you
What
animate the background in Stable Video Diffusion as well as a separate part?
There are times where I do animate it. There have been times where I actually also go into like After Effects and just get like a still image that I generated somewhere, like in Stable Diffusion or whatever, and then just add like elements. Like for example, um, like there's this animation where I did where this guy's on a train, and so like with After Effects, I made it so it kind of lights, like it made it seem like the train is like moving and there's lights passing by. So I added this effect where you see like lights kind of moving as almost as if the train is moving too, And so I add like AI with
Mm-hmm.
After Effects and just kind of bring it to life in that way too. I think that's one of the things that a
Yeah.
lot of people might know me for more, because I do include other tools. Like I do go into Blender, I do go into After Effects, and I do a lot of editing. And I think there's not there are a lot of people doing that too, but I think not the majority, I would say.
I'm really curious on what you were doing with Corridor Crew. Were you doing like AnimateDiff stuff like you were talking about, or how were you involved in that project? I mean, their videos are awesome, so I'm really interested to hear how that went.
At the time, I was using Warp Fusion, and that's also very strong. I would say that's very close to AnimateDiff when it comes to just the quality too. But I just feel like I think Comfy kind of, from my opinion, it kind of is Comfy's a little bit better because you get to just customize it way more. So I was using Warp Fusion at the time, and I did this animation that I uploaded on social media, and it caught the eye of Nico, the guy. I think he's one of the founders of Quarter Crew, one of the guys, and
Hmm.
he contacted me and asked me. He asked me some questions about my animation and stuff, and then he at some point he asked like if I wanted to kind of help them make the second episode of the anime that they had done, and I said yeah, and so we just started to they built a team, and then we just started working, and it was like a team of like 5 people, 5 other AI artists. And yeah, so like they just started sending us videos like, hey, this, or no, they didn't send us videos, they gave us a list of videos, and we got to choose which videos we wanted to work on. And then we just started
Hmm.
we started running those through Warp Fusion. We also started sharing like settings with each other's, and sharing the best settings that worked, and they gave us the best quality. And we were done so fast. Like with that small team, we did like the episode so quickly. Like it was crazy because I thought like this is gonna take a few months. I don't think it even took a month. Like I think
Hmm.
it took a few weeks, and we were already done. It's crazy how fast, and it's just like a testament of like where this can lead to, And I know some people don't want to hear that because they're like, well, you're taking away work from people and all that. But yeah, I just feel like you can't stop technology. Just like when I was going to school and they told me, hey, they're not hiring people who do audio as much, and I had to shift. Like that's like I couldn't just like get mad at people who record in their basement with their laptop, and because I couldn't find a job, Sorry, this is a hot take, but yeah, is uh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all agree that you cannot stop progress, right?
Yeah, I actually did the audio engineering thing too, so I know exactly where you're coming from exactly on the
Yeah.
job market bit. I think it would be interesting to just kind of get like a quick overview of some of the other tools that are out there for like people who are listening, they're interested in tools. Warp Fusion is one. We'll put links to all these in the description. It's a pretty interesting tool, gets lots of consistency. So for that restylization, right? That like control net video restylization, that one is great. Um, Disco Diffusion, we talked about as an older one. Talked about Pika, Runway. I'd really like to talk about one of the classics of the space, which is Deforum. I find it like such an interesting technology. It's been around for a while. It's in Automatic 1111. It's an extension in there. It sort of uses an image to image workflow, and it's been open source for a while, but it's quite an unusual one. So if you've ever seen those like videos where it looks like it's just like constantly morphing, mutating, regenerating, changing, that's Deforum, right? And you were talking a little bit about this like camera control aspect to it. What do you think, E? What do you think about Deforum and kind of the technology? Like, what do you like about it? What do you find it useful for?
Yeah. Well, I kind of want to like take back maybe what I said earlier about like this is what I think the best thing is. I think the best thing, what I meant by it is like it's the best thing for a specific purpose, right? And I think
Hmm.
that all these new tools that we have is just like it's just like saying, which is better, Premiere or DaVinci, right? Like each person will say why they think one is better than
Hmm.
the other or whatever. And I think each person has their purpose of why they want to use it. And I think, the form is like it has so many things you can do with it. Like I think there's so much that people haven't even tried. Like like syncing the AI to like music. That's such a powerful thing that I
Mm.
mean, I've seen it, people have done it, but I just feel like a lot of people haven't really explored that yet. And
Hmm.
there's so much there that you can mess around with, that you can play with, that it's really insane. But I do wonder if I heard this. I don't know. I don't know how true it is, but I did hear like a rumor from somebody. It might have been just someone just random, but that said that they're working like on like a second iteration of it. But that would be crazy if they did.
Hmm.
Yeah, I guess the question of like which tool is the best always sparks from the perspective of, oh, there's so many tools around and I have so little time,
Yeah.
so which one should I learn first to make the most of my time? As you said, it just leaves the time that it takes, because each one of these tools has its own strengths that we just talked about. One is better for this and the other one is better for that. But I guess that's why people often ask that, because they want to know what should I learn to make the most out of the time I spend learning it.
Yeah.
Hmm. I personally stuck with Deforum for a very long time. So for me, it was like the best tool, I thought. And what's interesting is it's a very abstract tool. So in it, there are keyframes that you can set, and you can generate videos for as long as you want on prompts. You can set prompts per keyframe. You can set the rate that things mutate and change. But there's also this 3D camera control. So there's a bunch of modes in it, but 3D is really the only good one, for the camera modes, anyways. And you get this sort of three-dimensional space that you can move your camera around in. You can look up, down, left, right. Once I started like getting that control and the acceleration and speed of the camera, it's really interesting. And what you were talking about with like audio reactivity, there's actually a whole suite of tools in Parsec,
Parsec,
which
exactly.
give you this advanced like mathematical calculations that you can pull off according to your music. And to me, it's not like I'm a video artist. You can see here I've done live visuals. I've had a video art conference, VidCon, that I threw for several years. And you see a lot of like visual jockeys go out there and they'll do audio reactivity. And it's just like, it's a 4/4 house beat, boom, boom, boom. And then it will be like flash, 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 flash. And that's like, to me, it's like the most boring way to do it. But with Deforum, you can make anything audio reactive, really. You can make the speed that it mutates audio reactive. You can make the speed of the camera and like the pulsation of the camera. You can do like different image settings or your prompts. It's really fascinating how much actual control you have over using things in Deforum. And that's before you even start adding in control nets or like video input. It's really amazing.
Yeah, we've seen some very cool music videos with it.
Hmm.
It's very
Yeah,
interesting.
I interviewed this guy Yuri, who has a band called Fumage, and we were talking about it, and it was an interesting discussion because in this space, I think that there's a lot of people who get into AI art, and it becomes um, like just a quirk, a thing that's funny. It's like you put in something, you get a video, oh, that's neat, and you move on. But when you're talking about like crafting a message that leaves an emotional impact with the viewer, like really like creating a narrative and a story, that's where using these tools can be quite different. And so he did that with Parsec and Deforum and was able to get, like make crescendos to his music where it would be like exploding stars and nebulas. And then it would go back to like, a planet and a house and a person when the chorus came in. So it's really incredible. Like, I think that that's where the future of human input in this stuff is like making this overarching narrative and story to drive the AI that's going to do all the like the grunt work.
Yeah, I think, as you say, video has the potential to be the one that is the most emotionally impactful.
Enigmatic, we'd love to hear more. Do you have any closing thoughts on AI video and the state of it or the future of it?
I would just say that it's just crazy at the pace we're going at with when it comes to this, because like about a year ago when I started, like everything looks so different than how things look today. And I'm just excited. I'm just excited to where things are going, and I'm excited for all the new tools too. Like I said, I think I don't think there's a best tool. I think you can get good at any of them and do really impressive things with each individual thing. And I think that diversity, I think that's amazing, because then you don't have people just using the same thing, pumping out the same thing that looks the same. I think the fact that there are so many tools starting to be developed and that's accessible to people, I think you can have somebody who's super like masters Deforum. There can be somebody who mastered warp fusion. There can be somebody who mastered automatic, like the stuff you do with automatic and or with AnimateDiff, like, and you can have people that master those different tools, and they don't need to know everything, you know. They don't need to know all. They don't need to master every tool, but they can master. They can focus on when it comes to like you were saying, Alex, about like which one should I start with. I think the person just should gravitate towards the one that they like, you know, and then go with it
Yeah.
and just master it. Don't worry about the noise all around, because I think that's the biggest thing, that you feel overwhelmed because of, oh, this new thing came out, this other new thing. So there's so much to keep up with. But I think that just playing with what you have, the toys that you have there in front of you, just getting really good at it, I think that can take someone really far, I think.
Yeah, I agree, because no matter the limitations of the tool, if you master it, you're still going to do something very cool if you master it.
Awesome. Well, today we talked in depth about AI video. We went over all the major tools that we could in this short amount of time that we had on the episode. There was a lot more we could have gone into with a lot of these. But I think we covered a little bit of everything that's out there. Of course, you can follow Enigmatic E on YouTube. The link is in the description. It has some great tutorials and walkthroughs, explains things in a very easy to break down way. So if you're new to AI video, you want to learn, this is the guy to start with. We'll also have links to socials and so on. Yeah,
do you have any other social media you want to talk about here?
Just Instagram, Enigmatic E, Twitter, 8bit_E. It's Enigmatic_E with Instagram and YouTube.
Awesome. And of course, for AI Expressed, Alex and I can be found on LinkedIn, as well as other social medias, which will be linked below. And please do like and subscribe on YouTube, and subscribe on various podcast sources like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Audible. That all helps. So, this has been a good show. Thanks for coming on, Enigmatic E. Definitely awesome to have a guest and get a unique vision on video.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Enigmatic, for showing up.
Just thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
AI Expressed is sponsored by Run Diffusion. Of course, this is a place where you can launch all the latest AI video tools in Comfy UI, which we have available for AnimateDiff and Stable Video Diffusion, as well as Deforum in Automatic 1111.